Gentlemen, notes 3.3 are on displaying data, and we're going to talk about creating graphs by hand. We have 2 pages of notes for this video, and then there's also a 3rd page of notes that we will do or have done on pie graphs. That will be an extra page that will be stapled into your notes, and we'll do it together in class. So notes 3.3. Start by saying once data is collected, it needs to be organized in a meaningful way so that it can be easily analyzed and interpreted. So we want to be able to analyze it and interpret it. So that way we can know what to do with the information that we're actually collecting. Okay, so we collected some data on students' favorite sports. If you were in class, we went to a couple different locations and got some information. So we had, if you don't have this filled in, please fill this in right here. We had 5 people choose baseball, 11 people choose basketball, 6 choose football, 22 people chose hockey, 12 people chose soccer, 2 people chose tennis, and 17 people chose other, and that ended up being a total of 75 people. So we need to figure out the percentage of people that chose each one of these things, and we'll round each percent to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to find the percentage for baseball, I'm going to take 5, divide that by 75 because that was the total, so the part over the whole, and then multiply that by 100. And when I do that, 5 divided by 75 and then times 100, I end up getting 6.7% right here. So rounded to the nearest tenth, we get 6.7%. We'll do the same thing for basketball. So I will take 11 over 75, multiply that by 100, and I end up getting 14.7%. So we'll say this right here is 14.7%. Okay, so for football, I'm going to take 6, divide that by 75, and then multiply that by 100. So that's 8% right here. So we know football has 8% of people that we surveyed chose football. Please continue with the rest of this chart on your own. And then when you're done, come back and check to make sure that you got the right answers. Okay? So check to see if you got the same values as I did right here, and then we're going to add it all up together right now to get our total. So if I were to add these values together, these percentages, 6.7 is my first percentage, plus 14.7, plus 8%, plus 29.3%, plus 16%, plus 2.7%, plus 22.7%, that gives me 100.1%. And the reason why it's not exactly 100% is because of our rounding. But for all intents and purposes, we'll say it's 100%. Okay? So now we need to create a bar graph. So now we're going to create a bar graph, and it says to remember to fully label your graph with the title, axes, etc. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about what this bar graph is about, and it's about a favorite sports survey. And you're going to take the sheet of graph paper that I gave you guys, and you're going to paste it on top of the one that I gave you you originally had, because this will fit a little bit better for us. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have 14 different things right here. And we want to go all the way up to the number 22. So I think it would be a good idea for us to go by 2s right here. So right here it says the numbers on the left side indicate the frequency. So we will label our axis right here frequency, and we will go up by 2s. So each bar will be 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, all the way up, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, and 28. Okay, And then on the bottom, it says label the bottom of the bar graph with a category. So our category right here is going to be our sport. So our different options for sports are all the different sports we have here: baseball, basketball, football, hockey, so on and so forth. So right here, we're going to go ahead and write in all of our different sports that we have. So we're going to say, and you're going to have to squeeze this in here. We're going to say baseball here. Sorry about having to squeeze it in. We're going to say basketball. So we're going to skip a bar. We're going to put baseball under the second bar. We're going to skip a bar. We're going to put basketball under the fourth bar. And then we're going to skip the next bar. We're going to put football under this bar. Skip a bar. And then we're going to put hockey under the next one. Skip a bar, and then we're going to put soccer under the next one. So I'm going to erase my sport and have it move over a little bit. So we'll put soccer under the next one. Skip a bar, then we're going to write tennis. Skip a bar, and then lastly we're going to put other. Okay, and then I'll write sport on the bottom so that we have everything. So the biggest thing about bar graphs is that we're using categorical data, and categorical data is data that are types rather than numbers. So we use words or descriptions instead of numbers. Okay, we still have frequencies for the numbers, but the actual x-axis has words or descriptions. So let's look and see. We got that 5 people choose baseball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a bar that goes up to 5 for baseball. So here's my bar for baseball. Okay. And then remember, our bars do not touch. So let's write ourselves a note that our bars don't touch. And then we're going to go up to basketball. We know basketball will go up to 11. So our next bar will go all the way up to 11. And it will not touch the bar to the left of it or to the right of it. Okay. Football, we know we had 6 people chose football. So I'm going to go up to 6 right here for football. For hockey, we had 22 people choose hockey. So I'm going to go all the way up to 22 for hockey right here. And by graphing this out, it's very clear which sport is the favorite. Soccer, we have 12 people who chose soccer. So we'll go up to soccer right here, and we're going to say 12 people chose soccer. Okay, and then we had 2 people chose tennis and 17 people chose other. So for tennis, we'll have it go like this. And then for other, we're going to have it go like up to 17. Okay, so now that we've done that, this is our bar graph. Remember, our bars do not touch in a bar graph. So write a statement about your findings. We can say that hockey is the most preferable sport. Hockey is the most preferred sport with, let's see what percentage of people chose hockey. 29.3% of people choosing hockey. Of students choosing hockey. Okay. So now we're going to talk about a histogram. So it says Tina would like to know the average number of hours her classmates spend watching TV during the week, Monday to Friday. So right here from 0 to 5 hours, there are 3 people who chose 0 to 5 hours. For 6 to 10 hours, there are 4 people. For 11 to 15 hours, there were 7 people. For 16 to 20 hours, for 11 to 15, there were 8 people, excuse me. For 16 to 20 hours, there were 5 people. For 21 to 25 hours, there were 3 people. And for 26 to 30 hours, there were 2 people. So let's go ahead and add that all up and see what that adds up to. So 3 plus 4 plus 8 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2, we end up getting a total of 25, which is what we want. So now let's go ahead and just calculate our percentages because that's important. So in order to calculate our percentages for our frequencies, remember we take 3 is the total amount of people that chose 0 to 5 out of 25, which is however many people there were surveyed, multiply that by 100. So 3 out of 25, multiply that by 100, we end up getting 12%. Please find the remaining percentages and then compare your answers with me when you're done. The values you should have gotten: 16%, 32%, 20%. Right here, this should be 12% and then 8%. So now let's make our histogram right here. So for our histogram, we still have to label. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to label what the title is of our histogram. So here we're going to say hours watching TV. And then on the side right here, we're still going to say frequency. Okay. And on the bottom, we're going to say the number of hours, and this is our interval. And we're going to use the intervals that we have up here. So our intervals were from 0 to 5, 6 to 10, so on and so forth until we got to 30. So here we're going to say, we'll skip a bar and then we'll say 0 to 5. But here our bars will touch, so I'm not going to skip a bar between 0 to 5 and 6 to 10. 11 to 15, 16 to 20, 21 to 25, and then 26 to 30. Okay, so we have that 3 people said 0 to 5. So I'm going to go to 0 to 5 and I'm going to go up to 3 people. So I'm going to have my histogram go up to 3 people right here, and remember our bars will touch. Okay, for 6 to 10 we have that 4 people said 6 to 10, so we'll have a bar that goes up to 4. For 11 to 15 we had that 8 people chose 11 to 15. For 16 to 20, we will say that 5 people chose from 16 to 20. And then from 21 to 25, we have 3 people. And then from 26 to 30, we have 2 people. And this is our histogram. Okay, so the last thing it says us to do on the left side right here is to write a statement about your findings. And we're going to say that most people in Tina's class watch 11 to 15 hours of TV per week. Okay? All right, so now we need to talk about what we have written on the right side over here. So we need to talk about the difference between a bar graph and a histogram. So the first difference talks about the types of data. So a bar graph is going to use categorical data. Okay, so an example would be like donuts. There's plain donuts. You could have frosted donuts. You could have jelly donuts, so on and so forth. Okay, a histogram is going to use numerical data. Okay, and the data will be expressed as intervals. So we have numbers in our histogram right here. It's numerical data. Okay, so that's one big difference. The second difference is how the graphs are drawn. So for a bar graph, the bars don't touch. So it would end up looking more like this right here. But for a histogram, the bars do touch. There's no space in between our bars. So our histogram would end up looking more like this. Okay, so that's everything that we need to know for these 2 pages right here. We'll add the 3rd page in next time I see you guys in class. All right, have a great day.